Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salveson, and we are the Hazmat Guys, bringing you the knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier.
Before we get into the show, let's thank today's sponsors. For 30 years, first responders have trusted FLIR's Identifinder radiation security products to keep them safe. From PDRs to portals, FLIR delivers leading-edge solutions. Enter for your chance to win a new R100 PDR at FLIR.com/winR100.
The Hazmat Guys podcast is brought to you in part by Qualtech. Qualtech's radiation safety services support all of your rad needs. Our complete instrument service program includes calibration, repair, and tracking software, so your instruments are always ready. Learn more at Qualtech, that's spelled QALTEK.com, or 208-523-5557.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 64. Today, we're going to be talking about 6 skills to make you a better resource, or as most of the country calls it, science officer.
Yeah, it's very good. All right, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. We have a couple of upcoming shows. I was specifically talking to a couple of our listeners, and they really like the interviews, so we're going to try to sprinkle them in there. So if you have somebody that is in your department that you know of that's really talented, and you think maybe that their message may be served across the country, we would like to hear from them. So please reach out and contact us at feedback@thehazmatguys.com, or maybe you are the guy. So, but we're very humble. We're all humble.
We'd love. I know. That's the problem. It's
Nobody really wants to get on a microphone.
No, and I think so many people have so much to offer, and they just don't know it. Like, everybody thinks, oh, I'm not anything special.
Right.
Well, I'm not anything special, and I'm sitting here telling all my crap. But believe me, people want it. The stuff that you may think is routine. Oh, we went to 6 sulfur dioxide leaks last year. We have those all the time. Okay, well, there's people in the rest of the country that have never done that. They would love to hear what you did, how you operated, and learn from your experiences. So please, people, tell us what's going on.
Yeah. And another thing is where we're going to be. We've been saying this, but here it is, the quick, short list. New York State Symposium, which is in April. We're going to be at the Cold Zone, which is going to be in May. That's in Wisconsin. I believe. I keep screwing that up. I think it is in
Milwaukee.
Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota. God, so
it was
close.
One of those M's.
So close. And
all those cold M's, they all blend.
And also in Baltimore at the IFC, we're going to be giving a couple classes there. So we're really kind of excited to see that city once again.
And if you can't get enough of us on the podcast, you could always hear us on the round table. All right, we got together with a couple people from across the country, specifically the Hazmat Nation guys, and we just kind of shoot the shit about what's going on in Hazmat during the week.
Yeah.
It's a great time. Audience participation. Come in, log in. You got to register for the class. Well, for the show. So register for it and come on, and there's a lively bunch, and we have a good time.
Yeah, we talk about whatever you're talking about on the group, on the contacts on the side, the comments section. We're talking about legit. Like, we see something good come up, we're going to address it right there, which is good. It's live.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Speaking of information, that's kind of what we're doing today, right? We're going to be talking about how to essentially make yourself a better resource or science officer.
Nice segue.
I know most of the country says science officer. We say resource. It's tomatoes. All right, no angry emails that it should be called this or that. I really don't care what you think. So we want to be a better science officer / resource. So, Bob, what do you think? What is the job of the resource and the science officer to start off with?
Well, first off, I mean, we are very unique where me and Mike work, where we actually have one guy that's assigned this position. That's what he does. Now, a lot of departments, a lot of companies, a lot of teams, they have one guy that's wearing many hats. Like in the company I was in before, the chauffeur was also the resource / science guy. So we have one guy that's independently doing that. So to answer your question, what does he do? Well, he's got to do a lot of stuff. He's got to wear a lot of different hats. He's got to have be plugged in to quite a bit simultaneously. Do you agree with that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He basically is the link between the outside world and the hazmat team in and of itself. Like, he's gathering information from units. He's or she. I don't want to be sexist. Or anything in between, whatever you may be.
Transitional.
I don't care. You have to be on scene. You're contacting other agencies. You're gathering information. You're gathering data. If you have multiple entry teams, you're keeping track of them. It's almost like the central hub of the hazmat team.
Right. And on the way in, he's doing a ton of stuff.
Ton of stuff. So the information starts being gathered right from the start of the run. All right. So the response is in. What are we responding to? What is this? For us, we get a ticket. The ticket is about as useful as Twitter. All right. It gives us about 3 characters to try to figure out what it is. So now we start trying to figure out, all right, are there already units on scene? Am I calling dispatch for more information? Things like this. So as we're responding in, I'm already starting to gather information. The best bet is to try to reach out. If I've got my units on scene, to reach out to them to see what's going on. So
pick up a phone, call them.
Right. Yeah. This is really the number one thing that you can do to become a better resource guy, is to gather as much information from the very, very start of the run. When do you start gathering the info?
Listen, I love guys that split the hairs on this thing, and you say, well, when the ticket comes in or the response comes in or on the radio or whatever it is, and then guys are like, well, no, it starts when, before you go to work and you're driving in. I don't drive the entire city. I'm sorry. I don't drive, 180 square miles on the way into work every day.
Right. We're not talking about size up stuff.
No.
We're not talking about, right? No, we're not talking about like, oh, it's raining out. Like, I'm not going to turn around to my guys and be like, hey, guys, it's raining and 33 degrees, so be warm out there.
Right.
Like, that's not the job of the science officer.
No, he's looking at chemical, physical properties. If I was thinking rain and I'm thinking temperature, I'm thinking, what's the physical properties of this thing now? How's it going to affect me? Is it an oil leak and there's rain, so now it's slick? Guys, listen, you might want to put on your micro spikes. Those ice spikes things. You might not want to wear your rubber booties. These type things. He's that guy that's always thinking 3 steps down the road. He's the guy that's got to look up PPE selection, where to monitor, NIOSH guides, ERG guides, whatever the book. He's the guy that's going to go into it. And all too often, I see the guys go into the computer. But we'll get into that in a little while. So I'm going to say it starts basically as soon as the ticket comes in. He's going to flip over to whatever frequency he's got to flip over to, if that's the SOP, and really start listening to everything.
Right. And gathering as much information as you humanly can.
Yeah.
I actually find it a challenge. I try to get information that I can tell the boss something he doesn't already know about the scene before the rig exits the firehouse. Like, that's how quick I want to get up there and start gathering. Whether it's maybe I'm calling the dispatcher. Hey, do you have anything else that you couldn't fit on this ticket?
Right.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's a white powder. It has hydrogen cyanide. It has cyanide on it. Like anything that I can give to that officer. And then just work backwards from there. So it's really important to be gathering as much information from the start of the run.
All right, point number 2. Have a good understanding of the responsibility of the people that are on the scene. Okay?
Why?
There's going to be, for hazmat scenes, typically when we come in as far as the guys that fix it. All right, I'm not talking about operations, because operation guys are the guys that are on the rigs responding in on the initial thing. So you got the awareness guys that say, hey, there's a problem, I call 911. And anytime you get on the rig, as Greg Knoll said, now you're part of the operations, right? So we're talking about the technician specialist. We might be a regional team or something that's coming afterwards. So having an understanding of the responsibility of the people on scene, you're going to have a lot of people plugging into that through the NIMS system. Right, through this, and if you guys don't know what NIMS is, go check it out. They're all free classes on the FEMA website. But what I'm saying is there's going to be a police presence. There may be an EMS component. There may be a federal component. There may be fire department, and within the fire department, you might have the fire companies. You might have the hazardous materials companies. You might have special operations companies. So all these guys are plugging into the command structure, and then you're going to have contractors, tow trucks. You're going to have the SMEs, like the subject matter experts, that might be part of the transportation, the manufacturer, the guy that was transporting it, the guy that was driving the stuff around. He's probably a good resource. You need to understand who is responsible for what they're going to be telling you or helping you with, and then at the end of the day, who's going to take this thing over? Responsibility. Who's in charge of scene and crowd control, traffic control? Who's in charge of the cleanup? Who's in charge of the financial aspect? Who's in charge of the bloodborne pathogens? Who's in charge of the chemical on the gear, recuperating those costs? Who's in charge? You see what I'm saying? This goes on and on. Can the resource guy know all of these? In the beginning, you're not.
No, definitely not.
Definitely
not. If you're gonna know anything, you should at least be tasked with what your team is gonna do. As Bob had alluded to earlier, he's kind of almost like a first line safety officer. Right? Like, even though I'm a firefighter, when I'm on resource, I am taking in the big picture. Everybody else is focused in on their task, okay? And as long as I'm not doing something on scene that is required of me, like looking up information, gathering, like once the entry team has said, okay, I'm going to wear this PPE and we're going to do this, my job suddenly is to step back and look at the picture as a whole. And if I know this is what the entry team is supposed to be doing, this is what the officer is supposed to be doing, this is what my backup team is supposed to be doing, this is how decon is supposed to be set up, I can always be looking around and making sure that the scene is going smooth. And I know that technically that lands on the officer's shoulders, but I feel like the resource guy is the last. He's the last stop to make sure that everything goes right.
I can't agree with you more because, the tunnel vision starts on the guy that's actually working on the nuts and bolts, and then the officer is supposed to be standing back a little further with a little bit of wider field of vision. The incident commander is supposed to be seeing all the company's operation. The resource/science guy, he's got to be even more of a macro because he has information at his fingertips, specifically permeation guides, chemical and physical properties, a knowledge that's much deeper than, and I hate to say it, but incident commanders, at least where we work, are not. They might be hazmat trained, but listen, guys, I'm not going to let any secrets out of the bag. They were probably asleep in the class. Okay, we're the game.
Right, and that's why they call us, because they can trust that we're going to do exactly this. And I'll give you a prime example of the resource guy on a mundane BS gas transfer. Car leaking gas. The entry team is focused on what they have to do. So all of a sudden, they're getting their spike tool under the car. They're getting ready to spike. They're literally driving this. They're going to drive the spike into the gas tank. I had resource, and I'm just taking a look around, and I realize that without the entry team having stopped to make sure that the suction unit, the vacuum that was in place, going to be in place to pick up all of this fuel once the gas tank was punctured, it wasn't set up yet. So they were so focused on their job and just getting it done that they didn't turn around to make sure that the pumps were ready, and they were going to rupture a tank and it was going to overflow the pop-up pool, and it could have been a disaster. Right. And it was my job as the resource to turn around and say, entry, stop. We need to wait until the drums are set up to transfer this product.
Yeah, it's like
that's just a little example.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that you can work on as the science officer to make you better is your communication skills. I mean, your communication skills, they almost need to be perfect, right? As we said before, you are the eyes and the ears of the unit responding on scene. The units that are already there while you're en route, right? They are operations levels guys. they probably don't know much more than how to open up the ERG. And even then, they're probably flipping through it and looking at each other going, anybody remember how to use this?
Yes.
No, you know. All right. You are going to be helping them. But they don't know what they don't know.
Very, very nicely said. Yes.
Right? So you could, my job as a resource guy is to paint a picture of what's happening so my entry team can get ready. And if I don't push questions, if I don't force those people on scene to paint me the picture that I want to see, then I haven't done my job right. And I can't do that unless my communication skills are perfect.
Right.
Right? I need to be able to say, somebody turns around and says, all right, we turned off the safety valve on this 406. Okay. What safety valve did you turn off? Where did you turn it off? That should be my next question. Because if he goes, oh, the one that's underneath the tank, then I go, oh, that's not the safety valve. That's the actual outlet valve.
Right.
So I need to get the information. I need to be able to question it, and I need to make sure that everything is crystal clear for my entry team before we get there.
Well, with that, I'm going to say that you need a deeper understanding of the job, right? This is what I'm saying is this is not, I don't want to say the wrong word, a probie or a rookie or a greenhorn or whatever the hell you call him. This is not his position.
No.
This is a position for an experienced guy. This is, in my opinion, the equivalent of the OV. Right, the outside vent guy
for the rest of the world.
I know, for the rest of the world. This is the guy that all too often I see where this is the guy that's on the outside. He puts up the ground ladders. He jumps in through the second floor. It's kind of a freelancing. I don't want to say the wrong word, freelancing, but he's an independent guy. The problem is that they usually give it to the junior guys because all the cool kids want to go in the fire. The problem is that OV is such an integral big part of the whole operation, just as this is. If Mike didn't know that there was bottom outlets on a 406, if he didn't know that there was internal valves that were pneumatically operated, that would be a problem. That's a big deal, and you got to know all the operations front and back with variations. Right. So another thing in this whole communications thing is that you need to. It's not really written down here because we're kind of looking at a rough outline, but knowing how to, and again, no offense to the incident commanders out there or anything like that, people that are in command positions, but me as a resource, I need to sometimes dumb it down and sometimes jack it up. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes I'm going to be talking about, 2,4-methyl iodine. And I don't even know if that's a real chemical. I just completely made it up off the top of my head.
Right.
And I'm going to have to tell this guy that this is what it's for. And I have to bring it down to that 5th grade level like we're teaching in these podcasts. Now, there's other times where I need to get something done. It might not be, and I can see the incident command is not really sure of it. And I'm going to say, Chief, we need to do it because the guy has an unlicensed nuclear reactor in a basement. Totally BSing this guy, but he goes, holy cow, you're right.
He's got a positron accelerator.
He's a class 5 full roaming vapor. I mean, we need to make, so I'm going to make him do it. I can't lie to him, but I'm going to razzle him with some bullshit.
Right. And that's where it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's how you say it. And trust me, when you have that front piece on or you have that marking on you're the expert and this guy says to himself, Christ, do I doubt this guy? I mean, this is what he does.
Right.
Do I give up my command and control to a guy, this young punk?
It happened. So we had a fire in a hospital. In the radiation storage facility. Okay. So we get in. I do all my resource stuff on the way there. We get to the hospital. And I tell the boss, hey, boss, I'm going to go hang out at the command post. He's like, okay, no problem. So I'm over at the command post, just kind of hanging out, far away from the rig. I got my computer. I got everything. And I'm sitting at the command post. And it's about 5 to 10 minutes into it. Our entry team gets to the the radiation storage, and of course we're worried about radiation in the smoke and things like that. So they say, be advised, we're getting readings of, and I'm going to make up a number. I want to say it was like 100 millirems, making up the number. And I said, okay. And I turned to the guy standing next to me, who is the supervisor for that hospital. And I said, what's the background radiation to that room? And he said, oh, background radiation is 100 millirems. And so I said to them, that's the background, doing all that communication. The officer turns around and communicates all that to the incident commander, who was next to me but not really paying attention. And he transmits the whole situation of what's going on. The incident commander, who's the deputy chief, goes, hazmat 1, 10-4. Gets off the radio and goes, what the fuck did he just say? And I said, Chief, if you don't mind, I can explain everything that just happened. He goes, please do. And he sat and he listened. And from that moment on, every time something came down and he needed to make a decision, he turned and he said, is this what I should be doing? And I said, yes, Chief, that's what you should be doing.
Because
No,
you're
Chief,
his resource.
I was
You're
his
trusted
resource.
now.
Right.
You've gained trust.
And I did that because my communication skills are really, really good.
Yeah. And I can't agree more. And that's one of those skills that you have to build up. And it could be something as Jason Rogers, one of our cohorts, uses a drill where they build a Lego model. I don't know what you want to call it, but one team has the pieces, one team has a finished piece, and they have to describe how to build that.
Over the radio.
Over the radio. No visual.
In another room.
So it's very hard to paint that picture. But that's communication skill, and that doesn't come just by, wanting it, wishing it. It's not magical. There's no pixie dust. There's no elixir. It comes with practice. The more you do it, the better you get.
And don't kid yourself. There may be times that you have to talk to the incident commander until their eyes glaze over with, oh, well, that PID is the ionization potential where it's ripping the blah, blah, blah. And then you see their eyes glaze over, and then you're like, I got him. He no longer knows what I'm saying. Right. He's just going to trust me from this point forward.
All right. Let's take a minute to hear about today's sponsor. FLIR, a global leader in CBRNE detection solutions, has exciting news for Hazmat Nation. FLIR is giving away one of its new Identifinder R100 personal radiation detectors each month in 2017. Enter for your chance to win at FLIR.com/winR100. This rugged PRD delivers immediate threat alarms to keep frontline responders safe. It also features integrated Bluetooth connectivity that enables situational awareness beyond the front line and up the chain of command. It is IP67 rated to protect against dust, is water submersible up to 1 meter, and drop test compliant to 1.5 meters. For over 30 years, first responders have trusted FLIR's Identifinder radiation security products to keep them safe and prepared. Over 20,000 instruments are fielded globally. From personal radiation detectors to portals, FLIR delivers leading-edge solutions for our first responders. Remember to visit FLIR.com/winR100 to win.
All right, let's pick up where we left off.
All right, just to recap.
What's number 4?
Oh, yeah, right. Just to recap, first point was gather as much information from the start of the run. Number 2 was have a good understanding of the responsibility of the people on scene. Number 3 is that you need to have unbelievable communication skills, and you need to know all aspects of communications and who the players are. This one is know how to look up chemicals. All right, let me give you a couple examples.
How hard could this be?
This is... You know what? I think this is one of those foundational tenets of being good in a hazmat team, knowing where we are today. And I don't mean to look down my nose at it because it's my go-to, but we are very quick to utilize the phone or the laptop. It is a fantastic resource. Laptops, phones. We use it to take barcode scans off of kegs and and drums. It does great stuff. But what about books? What about the phone? Gathering all this information about how the chemical, calling Chemtrek, calling Joe from San Diego, who is a chemical engineer that you knew through a class, and the guys. That's what I'm talking about, and knowing how to use resources. One guy, even you know what, even notes from drills. How's that?
Sure.
Right? Something like we did a drill, we did a couple of little BS street level experiments, and we wrote down the results. As best we could. That's information that we could be pulling up there. That's information that's based upon experience.
Right. And then once you pull up that information, you gotta. I mean, finding it is half the battle, but then being able to read it and understand it, that's the other half of the battle. You got to know how to read things like your SDS sheets, your MSDS sheets.
Right. Right. Exactly. If you're old school. But even, reading those things like the NIOSH, there's a lot of boxes in the NIOSH. What do they mean? What's the difference between, milligrams per cubic milliliter and parts per million? Does that mean something to you? It should. It should tell you something about this operation right off the bat.
Right.
Right. I mean, is a low ideal H good or bad for us? Is all these things, these little triggers have to be known, not unknown. I don't want to say that. You don't have to memorize anything. Anything I have a book for, I don't need to memorize.
No, you need the concepts.
Exactly.
Memorized.
You need to know where to get them, and you need to know what to read. You don't need to memorize everything. And listen, if you know all about gasoline, and diesel is minus 140 degrees, and that's adorable. I love it. It's so cute. But you know what? Cute. There's no reason. If there's a choice of me holding that information and how to get to a certain book, drop the 140 and get me the book, because that's how stuff gets done. Physical paper books. You talk to the older school guys, that's how it was done. It's a skill that's lost, and there's a million reasons for this, but you have to learn how to put. What happens if there's an electromagnetic pulse? What happens if the battery shits the bed in the rig? What happens if your phone got crushed?
I just used the books today for resource.
I use them all the time. I try to just to practice.
I just did it. It's so funny that we're sitting here talking about this, because I literally, for the first time in a long time, had to break out the books to find 2 different insecticides.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You can open up 10 different books simultaneously. Oh, but I can open up 10 different tabs on my browser. Yeah, but you can't look at them all. I can't show the incident commander things. I have to, I have to move things around. And not to sound too old, but when I was a kid, we used to get an encyclopedia, the Encyclopedia Britannica. And this was so expensive that sometimes when you asked it, you had to get it when you got married. That's how expensive it was. So,
Could you imagine getting a volume of textbooks now as like a wedding gift?
Forget it.
I would throw it at somebody.
And everything you needed to know is inside these books, and that's just the way it was. And we still in our rig have, the Merck manual, the compressed gases. There are so many books, and people are like, do we really need these? Hell yeah. You really do. And you need the up-to-date version, as much as you can get. They're expensive.
They are.
But
they are.
Money well spent.
Very well spent. But you know what? All that looking up doesn't do you shit if you don't have a really good understanding of the chemical and physical properties. Yes. And I mean beyond, all right? Beyond looking at the NIOSH and saying, this is going to go up, this is going to go down.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right? Right. I'm talking about taking that information and doing something with it. Right? I'm talking about, all right, here's my SDS sheets, here's my NIOSH, here's what Chemtrek said, here's what the Coast Guard said. All right, this is the PPE that I suggest the entry team were to wear.
Right.
Hey, guys, when you get on scene, make sure you do this. Make sure you don't do this. I can talk to the units that are on scene, those operational level guys, and because of the information they're giving me and learning about the chemical, I can give them suggestions. A prime example is many, many years ago, before me and Bob were in hazmat, there was a titanium chiller fire in the city. I think it was Manhattan. I'm not quite sure where exactly it was, but the incident commander was on the phone with hazmat and said, "We are going to attack this with a hose line." The resource person begged that incident commander not to put water on the titanium metal chiller that was on fire. He begged him because he knew that it was going to explode. The incident commander ignored him and burnt a lot of people as a result. And that is the example of looking up a chemical, understanding the chemical physical properties, and being able to tell somebody what to do with that information.
Yeah.
All right. You need to be able to explain what the hell is going on.
Right. It's not just knowing those basic foundational things. It's being able to plug in, like Mike said, the A plus B plus C plus D plus, topography plus weather plus the guys. I'm with the A team. I'm with the B team. Plus my spidey senses the tingling. My woman's intuition is moving. All these things all come into effect. And then eventually, and I've made recommendations to officers when they're getting geared up to go in, and I say, okay, you're going to come in from the left. And I've had officers say, don't tell me my job. I know how to do this. And I'm like, see, if you did, you'd listen. And maybe I'm going to say something to you that's not right in your head, or maybe you weren't thinking of, and you're going to go, wow. I wasted 20 seconds listening to what he said, but that 5 seconds was gold because I missed it.
Right.
I'm there as your second set of eyes. I'm there to make sure that you're on the right track, or maybe I'm off on track and you see something I don't see. We have to combine. That's the hazmat huddle that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Very important.
And it goes back to that whole idea that you can learn something from anybody, right? That even the newest guy in the company may be looking at something from a perspective that you just didn't think of.
I love that.
All right. What's next? What's number 6?
Next one is multitask, because you have a lot of jobs and there's only one of you. I don't know we're in a decently large fire department, New York City Fire Department. Slightly, but
one of the top 10, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe around there. If we're on scene and we are the only hazmat company in New York City, and we only have one resource science guy, well, he's it. He's it for the entire New York City. So that guy is going to have to wear a lot of hats, dial a lot of phones, talk on a lot of radios, talk to a lot of incident commanders, talk to a lot of inside teams, all at the same time. And it's very, very hard.
What radios, if there's only one run, because if we get multiple runs, then that resource guy is acting as the eyes and ears for the other units that are on other hazmat runs. All right. One run, how many different electronic devices are we monitoring?
I have to monitor the 800 frequency because that's like a talk around. I have to monitor the department radio for the borough that we're going to. I have to monitor the handy-talkie radio, which is the fireground operations. And I may or may not have to monitor a second borough frequency.
Okay, and you may or may not have to monitor the command.
Oh, the command channel is another one, which is just for staff level.
And your cell phone.
And the cell phone, you're right. I completely forgot about that.
That's 6. That's 6 electronic devices that I need to be able to multitask with on top of, writing down information, keeping track of the guys.
Writing down information, writing out the report, because there's going to have to be a whole thing on that. And one of the newer things, and guys, maybe you have it, maybe you don't have it, but you can split hairs with this, whatever you want to do. But we've always had cell phones in the rig. Recently, they just upgraded them to an Apple iPhone, which gave an enormous amount of capability to us. And one of the things they were kind of unsure about giving us the option to do was take pictures. I cannot tell you how incredibly beneficial it is for the resource science guy to be able to take pictures. Let me give you a little example of why. When I get off at a spill, a car accident, whatever it is, I need the VIN number. I need the license plate. I get out, I go click, 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 click. I take a picture of the guy's license. Oh, but that's information. We're not using it for anything. And in fact, if you're that big, then delete it afterwards. But you know how easy it is for me now to gather massive amounts of information. EPA wants a little, they're coming from 3 hours away. I can send them a picture of what the spill looks like. I can do a million things with that. The incident commander. I'm 2 hours away. I say, boss, listen, can you take a picture of it? I think it's there's like 65 gallons on the ground. All right, where is it coming from? It's a Prius. Yes. Can you do me a favor? Take a picture of that for me? Yeah, no problem. And he sends it. Oh, that's adorable. That's not really.
It's the new F-350 Prius.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to wear a lot of hats. So you're gonna have to streamline some of your operations. That's what I'm saying there.
So learn how to multitask.
Multitask. Oof.
Should we give him a bonus one?
Why not? You know what? Because they're good listeners.
All right. So we said 6, but we're going to go ahead and give you the bonus one. To be a really good resource guy, you need to be one step ahead of your team, your officer, and the incident commander.
That's going to be tough.
It is very difficult.
And that's where seniority comes out.
Yes. If you need to be able to predict what's going to happen, you need to be able to assume that mistakes are going to be made. You need to be able to think about plan A, plan B, and plan C. You need to be able to take the steps to gather the information way before they want it.
Yeah. You know what? It's going to be, like I said before, it's going to be a lot of experience that's going to speak to you in that method. And don't confuse being one step ahead and having that knowledge in your head and being able to direct resources to do and get ready for those eventualities. I'm not saying that, they're going to need another 55-gallon drum. That doesn't mean you have to go get it, unless maybe that is your SOP. But you might just say, hey, you two knuckleheads over there, because you're not trained, pick up this drum and move it over there.
Right, go drag it over there.
Go drag it over there. You don't keep the resources that are highly trained doing the highly trained stuff, and the stuff that's just dumb moving, put the dumb movers on it. And I'll be honest with you, I'll flat out honest with you, I've used civilians to do dumb work because they're only too happy to go back home and go, man, I was helping the fire department. They were so proud, beaming, telling the kids, I think I did something good today. I think I helped somebody today,
Yeah.
And
listen,
huge.
Nobody gets under a car like a 4-year-old.
That is so
you give a 4-year-old a drill and you say puncture that tank.
I got your
on
ankle. It's all right. I got you by the ankle. It's all right. Go ahead.
And they're expendable.
If you want to see your mom again, you better do this quick. That's so wrong. All right, we shouldn't say that.
Just kidding. I love my children.
So I'm just going to recap this real fast before we kill this one out. Number 1, gather as much information from the start of the run. Number 2, have good understanding of the responsibility of the people on scene. Number 3, communication skills must need to be perfect. Number 4, know how to look up a chemical. Number 5, have a good understanding of chemical and physical properties. Number 6, multitask because you have a lot of jobs and there's only one of you. And the bonus, number 7, be ahead of the team, officer, or command.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at The Hazmat Guys. And take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484.
We are always looking forward to your feedback about information or interesting incidents that you were part of. So send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com.
And remember, guys, don't just get on the job. Get into the job.